just curious, you started to say Game of Thrones. Was that a Freudian slip?
I had notes on what the equipment is because Evan does the editing, and I went over and we use Slack for communication, and right there at the top of our conversation was the word Game of Thrones. So it was like I started reading off instead of the equipment that we have. The last conversation.
You were looking at it and said it. Yes, that's why I don't like reading while I'm doing these.
I know it's
in front of you.
I wouldn't have remembered it if I tried to memorize it. I have a terrible memory, so that's why I had to go to my notes.
Hey, we got a good show lined up for you today.
Oh, well, I'm a Game of Thrones nut, so that's my jam.
The robots are listening. The robots are listening.
All right, so welcome to On Air. Great to have you. Last saw you in Denver. You offered to buy me a drink at the Mexican restaurant, but we were so tired we had to leave. How'd that night turn out?
Yeah, a little bit of a blur, but it turned out all right.
It's partly why I wore the fixed ops hat. We were all at dinner with Owen and Kevin and Julie and Chris. And then Dane shows up. I was ready to fall on my face. He's like, come on, let's do a round.
I can try to bring the fun when I can.
Well, I can tell, I've tuned in recently to some of your shows, KPI Cafe. And I said, you know what, let's get Dane up here and talk about this. So do me a favor. You're with Reunion Marketing. I think your title is Brand and PR Manager. Effectively, correct. You're a co-founder, right?
Yep.
Okay. So tell us what KPI Cafe is. I called it an automotive B2B media strategy. What is KPI Cafe?
Yeah. Well, first, thanks for having me on. I appreciate having a chance to talk to your audience. KPI Cafe for Reunion Marketing is really a matter of, we're a young company. We're coming up on our 4-year anniversary. With all the efforts we were doing, even SEO, SEM, getting that good foundation built up, a lot of people just still didn't know who we were. So it is a media strategy. It was a strategy it's really a brand awareness campaign, a long-term strategy to show our thought leadership and let people learn about who we are, in terms of our philosophies, our culture, and sort of our data-driven foundation to who we are and what we offer to dealerships.
So you refer to it as a branding strategy. What's some of the, I've been doing the show for a year, and I wouldn't do it if I didn't see value in it for what I do. So I get excited when I see individuals and brands like Reunion Marketing launch something similar. I mentioned Sean Welsh, whose program you were on down at Digital Dealer. He does 5 minutes. 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. He gets great engagement on LinkedIn. He's starting to embrace other media. So you launched it in November, KPI Cafe. Give us a little insight as to what led to why you felt the need to do this.
Yeah. So like I sort of referred to before, we were implementing SEO best practices. We were running some paid search campaigns. We were getting qualified traffic to the site. But we felt like maybe it wasn't converting as well as it could because people are coming to our website and they're seeing what we're offering, but they don't really know who we are. They don't really have any insights into who Reunion Marketing was. So, despite those really great foundational pieces, it was a matter of, again, brand awareness, like people understanding exactly who we were. And so we thought to help increase that brand awareness, to put forth some thought leadership in automotive, to give a chance for people to put a face to the name. And faces to the name, especially with our CEO, Dave Sponicky. We just felt like that was going to be a great way to really connect with dealers in a way that's not some sort of hard marketing or hard sales pitch. It's, pitch free, educational. And then we thought, the long term, if we foster those relationships, we get that engagement, then we become a trusted resource for those dealers. So really just came about as a matter of seeing that we're getting the right traffic to our site through those foundational pieces of digital marketing. But that was like the next step to really help compel conversions because, when you go to a dealership, what do? You look up reviews, you talk to people, you hear different things. And so as a matter of, of KPI Cafe, we have a lot of even consultants, talking about us even more. So, if you think about that in that regard, there's more communication, more talk about Reunion Marketing as a result of it.
Now, Reunion Marketing is not exclusive to automotive, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is KPI Cafe, ubiquitous to industry, or is it specific to automotive?
KPI Cafe is specific to automotive, so all content will always be around automotive digital marketing.
Okay. All right. Launched it in November. I'm curious what your tech stack looks like. Equipment, what's your equipment look like? Because you've done some remotely at events, but you also do some in studio. It's pre-recorded, right?
Yeah. I'm sitting in the studio that we usually do KPI Cafe, and I thought that'd be pretty fitting since I was going to be talking about it today. But we have a Zoom H1 audio recorder where you can, plug in different boom mics and different mics to be able to have more robust audio. We're looking at potentially getting a Zoom H6, a boom stand mic. We have a guy who works here, Brent, who dabbled in video before. He's in our operations department right now, but he knows a lot about it. But he bought a whole bunch of lighting, we have Canon 80D cameras with wide lenses, regular lenses, tripods. Then we use I have a guy, Evan, here in our design team. So Evan and Brent, I couldn't do Game of Thrones. I couldn't do KPI Cafe without. And he uses, I think it's Adobe Suite, After Effects, and Premiere Pro for his editing software.
Okay. Yeah, I actually use Adobe Creative Cloud as well, Premiere.
Okay.
After Effects is beyond my pay grade, but I'd love to learn it.
Yeah.
But I could tell by some of your post-production that you guys do some After Effects. It looks really sharp. It's really
thank
sharp.
you.
You have everything's done in the studio. You're doing some stuff remotely. You're publishing the videos, I assume, to all the typical places. Where are you publishing all the videos?
Of course, first, YouTube, just for anyone who's subscribed to our Reunion Marketing YouTube channel. Posted natively on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. And then do little promotional pieces through Twitter and Instagram is where we find we get the most engagement from.
And
those channels.
Is your Instagram Reunion Marketing, or are you using like a personal?
Yeah, everything is the official Reunion Marketing social media channels.
Okay. So everything's got the Reunion brand behind it. It's your content. And what would you say, you're a few months into it, well, 6-7 months now, what would you say it could be kind of an objective consensus, what are some of the greater benefits you're experiencing out of this?
A lot of more conversations and building great relationships with a lot more of automotive consultants. I think, we're targeting dealers, we're trying to educate dealers, but I think inherently in that, consultants are going to see that content as well. So I think we've built a lot of trust with a lot of guys like Sean Welsh and Sean Kelly and other guys that are real smart in automotive that learn of our value just kind of through that. And then, we have the continued conversations with, our VP of Sales, Chad Graves, Dave Sponicky, some other guys here at Reunion with those people. We've also noticed, an uptick in engagements with dealers. We use a platform, Lead Forensics, and we're seeing more of an influx of more of the qualified traffic that demonstrates that we are reaching our targeted audience. Racking up a lot of great hours on YouTube. We're seeing longer retention. So when we had the first episode of KPI Cafe, we had a 23% retention. First episode, people don't really know us. We're averaging about a 64% retention rate now, about 26 episodes in. So, we're not just necessarily tracking like how many website forms do we get or how many phone calls do we get, but like what sort of engagement, what sort of retention are we having with these videos? Do we see that they're resonating with the viewers? Because if we maintain an only 20% retention rate up to this point, that's a problem. And, I know that, with YouTube, it's based on like, you can skip around and people might, skip forward and that affects your retention rate. But, if we were still at such a low benchmark, I would have to reevaluate sort of what content we're producing.
Those are good numbers. I mean, to hear you say that, like you said, increase in retention rate is a good sign. What is there a frequency? Is it weekly? Is it twice weekly?
It's twice a month, bi-weekly.
Okay. So one new video every other week.
Yes.
On a very specific day?
Fridays.
On Fridays. Is there a podcast that goes with it or just the video?
There is not yet. I just haven't had the bandwidth to really kind of dive into that yet, but that is in the plans.
Okay. And the other thing I was going to ask you is you're taking the same video and you're putting it in each place, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're following a reunion in all these places, you are going to see the same. Do you find that you consistently get better return from, like you mentioned, YouTube, or is it kind of hit or miss? You get one video does better here versus there.
So that, that's a good question. When we post natively to LinkedIn, of course, those metrics don't transfer over into YouTube. So when we post natively, of course, then you don't get as many views and as much insights from YouTube. So we do try to help promote the videos on YouTube, so that way we continue to get the views and understand the consumer behavior on those videos. But I would say Facebook, lesser sort of results in engagement, but still want to continue to leverage that platform. But seeing a lot of great engagement in terms of like shares, comments, likes, different things on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has really proven to be a really great driver of our conversations.
Now, to clarify, you're saying you'll actually link the YouTube video to a post on LinkedIn versus uploading to LinkedIn natively?
No, so we upload it natively onto LinkedIn.
Okay, you do.
And then later we'll come back and then we'll maybe like share the link instead to then get more viewers onto YouTube to be able to leverage their analytics to have more insights on what LinkedIn can provide.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I find between all the platforms, there's no clear dashboard, it's just, there's nothing, but you try things. If things work, then keep doing them. And at some point things don't work as well. And if you consistently see things not working, then that's a sign to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Try something else. And I think, people like familiarity. They do. People like familiarity. But by the same token, data speaks volumes for sure.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
So just to wrap this up, where do you see this headed? I'm not saying you have to have some grand vision or master plan, but could you share what you see, where you see KPI Cafe going over the next year?
Yeah. So a couple things. One, we're actually kind of switching the format. Before it was we were talking about sort of what insights we were seeing in terms of like our national dealer network. So we leverage our national dealer network to look at different audits and benchmarks. And then we talk about like SRP to VDP audits and different things, homepage banner studies. So a lot of proprietary stuff. But what we're going to start doing is, our marketing consultants are having a lot of conversations with our 200 plus dealers. Our sales team is having a lot of conversations with prospects. So what are the questions, objectives, concerns, things that they're talking about and hearing? And we're going to address that in KPI Cafe now. So it's going to be very dealer driven instead of what are our internal sites driven. And then if we can tie that to what we're seeing internally, we'll share that data, but we're wanting to be more dealer oriented. We're also switching to being more like, like episodic based, or like having seasons of KPI Cafe. Mm-hmm. So far, it's just been every 2 weeks. We just put up, some new content. So we're gonna hyper focus on a pretty big topic, and then all of the episodes for that season are going to be based around that topic, and that's going to be quarterly. So, for example, in July, we're not going to have any KPI Cafe episodes go up, because in June and July, we're going to be planning, writing, diving into the details and creating the content. And then August and September will be when we release those bi-weekly. And then we'll take that next month off, October, to plan for the rest of the year. So we're going to be doing more quarterly based around actual dealer topics that dealers are concerned about. I also have plans. I've been trying to get some of our dealer partners to come on. So being very encouraging of having a dealer come on to talk about what they're seeing and what they're hearing, and get their feedback on where the automotive industry is at in terms of digital marketing, and even beyond, when we get a dealer on to talk about even other things that are of interest to them. So I want to get to be more of like a big conversation going on than just sort of, me instead of me just talking to people, having
mm-hmm.
a good actual, like, good substantive conversation.
Well, good stuff, man. I appreciate you coming on and sharing this with us, Dane.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to come on and talk. So enjoyed it.